Welcome. This is Scotia here from Beyond the Fan, and I just wanted to just jump on, say hello, and share my thoughts on the second and final Eternals trailer that just dropped this morning for us in the UK. So first of all, always got my coffee and got my notes as well. So I've watched the trailer a few times now, and what I'd recommend people do first is once you've watched it, watch it again and turn the sound off, because to its credit, the orchestral score really does help sell the trailer. But actually, when you take that out and just listen, just watch it without listening, you see actually not a lot really happens. It's a lot of talking, a lot of as the MCU's Phase 4 has shown us, we spend a lot of time telling and not showing, which was interesting. So yeah, I've got to say, disappointed so far with the first trailer, and again disappointed with the second and final trailer. It's how can I put it? It tries to explain why they've been here for 7,000 years, but haven't interacted or done anything up to this point, whilst also saying how much they love humanity and how when you love something, you gotta act, even though they don't. So I'd be interested to see in the actual film how they explore that and kind of reconcile those two very different ideas. Because at the moment it doesn't sit very true to me as what we're really thinking. And the explanation is, well, we were told not to buy, cut to giant celestial space creature, cut back to them. So it doesn't do a huge amount to explain it. And just in general, it just looked terrible. Like the colour palette was this kind of muddy, grey, brownish colour to everything. I'll hands up, I'm not a big fan of the Eternals in the comics. I haven't read anything. But from what I've seen and doing a bit of research before coming on to this video, Jack Kirby's artwork really popped in the comics. If you've watched Thor Ragnarok, it's similar to that kind of colour palette. Obviously, Thor Ragnarok and the director Taika Waititi took inspiration from the Kirby one, and I just wish we'd done the similar thing for Eternals. I don't know what it is with MCU just now, but we seem to be going for this. Let's hire people who we think will sound good to hire, get people in front and behind the camera that sound good to have, but don't actually respect or at least have a familiarity with the source material, and it really comes through. And it just feels like you could have called this movie Ending, and it would be the exact same story, exact same type of people, and it wouldn't really make a difference to anything. What makes this Eternals? So that was really disappointing. And I've got a picture up here of one of, if not the main villain in the movie. And maybe this is just because it's a trailer, but the CGI, particularly in the face and the eyes, don't look particularly good. I mean, remember, this was supposed to come out over a year ago. It was supposed to be out 2020 and got delayed. So there shouldn't really be any excuse or reason for the trailer CGI footage not to look the best. They've had extra time to work on it. So that's my kind of quick run through. In terms of how does this connect into the MCU, they mentioned Thanos, they mentioned the 5-year snap, they mentioned it, not by name, but that Iron Man brought everyone, sorry, not Iron Man, the Hulk brought everyone back, and Iron Man got rid of Thanos, but we don't really go into detail about it. And it's now because of all this energy from the snaps, it's if kind of the deviants have been summoned or called forth, and this is why they're acting, because they can only act if the deviants are involved. So again, I'm assuming this guy here is one of the main deviants, but it just seems like this whole trailer and this whole Phase 4 really is about saying, oh look, we're going to set something up in the next movie, in the next TV show, whereas really should be focusing on what we're trying to show and tell in this movie. So my final thoughts are, I'll watch it because I need to review it, but I wouldn't really recommend people spend money on this. I mean, this is definitely something I think you can wait for Disney Plus or however you want to get access to things like this without going to the cinema. I don't think it's worth the money or the time to see in the cinema, which is disappointing because I was at the start with Phase 1 and Phase 2 and Phase 3. I was quite into the MCU, but yeah, the past couple of years it's just gotten worse and worse, and it just really went downhill. And for me, the MCU used to be, whether it's when you went to see an MCU film, it's like going to a restaurant. Sometimes it'd be 5-star cuisine, other times 4-star, 3-star, an occasional 2-star. But now it just feels with the TV shows, Black Widow and potentially Shang-Chi and Eternals from the trailer. It's just like going to McDonald's and getting a hamburger. It's like, yeah, okay, you eat it, but it's a hamburger. You don't sit and compare all the different hamburgers you've had and say which is the best. It's just a hamburger. It's just this whole, I guess it's this whole Disney model of treating its customers as consumers. So we just pump out content and we just supposed to just consume it without any real thought or substance to it, which is really disappointing for me. The reason I started this channel was to kind of talk about pop culture, and in particular how I kind of felt that in most cases what came before was better than what we have just now, and the Eternals and the latest MCU efforts really just sort of showcase, for me anyway, how true that is. So yeah, that was my kind of initial quick reactions to the second and final trailer. It's out in November over here in the UK and worldwide, I presume, depending on what happens with other things going on in the world. So if you watch the trailer, please do drop a comment in the comments below, sharing your thoughts. If you like the video, if you like the channel, please do like and subscribe. It really does help out, particularly just now when I'm just starting out. And finally, I've included my Instagram and Twitter handles if you want to follow me there as well. I'm really keen to kind of engage with people, find out what people like, what they don't like, but also a big shout out to Gary, Az and others, really from Friday Night Tights, for the past year. Really helped me get through what been for all of us a difficult year, and they've really inspired me to kind of take the leap, stop procrastinating, and actually jump on front of the camera and just share my thoughts and contribute to the fellowship. So thank those guys, and please do go check out their channels and their videos too. So this is Scotia from Beyond the Fan, and I will see you next time.